Hello and welcome back to the Land Rover show. And thank you guys for watching and liking and subscribing. So what I'm going to be working on now is getting this front brakes done. So what I'm doing is on Series 3 Land Rovers, this is a Series 2A that I'm working on. Normally, let's go over to the truck before I show you what's next. Normally, the metal brake lines come across to here. Then the rubber line comes over and goes on the back of the wheel cylinder on the brake backing plate. So what I'm going to do, and since I now have these higher springs, the parabolic springs are now my cable, not my cable, but my rubber hose that used to go from here to the back of the braking plate is too short now. It's already stretched out. And another concern is, besides that, I needed to get a new brake line. So, and I also, since they're 11-inch brakes and they have the dual wheel cylinders, I want to turn it to the side, which I'm going to be showing you later later on once the brake lines show up. So when you have the two wheel cylinders like this turned, it'll be a lot easier to bleed the brakes and get to the bleeder as well. Or I'm going to put them like this, or I'm going to put them like that. So I don't know, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting in Series 3, the later series, brake rubber line for a 1-ton Series 3. 1 tons come with larger shackles on them and bigger springs, so they're actually raised up higher. So the rubber lines go from there to there are a lot longer. So I already ordered a set of those. So those will be coming in the mail. So I needed to make a Series 3 bracket. So let me show you here. This I got off of Mike the Series guy, if you're on Guns N' Rovers forum. And I got this off of him. Is just an extra one that he had laying around. So you could see the rubber line comes in this way, comes onto a bracket here, and then goes around and the metal lines go over. So let me show you on the truck. This is here. That's how it's supposed to attach. We have these bolts back here that hold the seal on here for the swivels. So you take 2 of those bolts out and then you mount this bracket in here. So the bracket mounts right there, and it holds the rubber brake line right here, which is closer from here to here. So then this bends up and curves up to here to this bracket here to the metal line that you can see. So he only had one of these, and I'm not going to buy another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fabricate the brackets, these brackets, so you can make them yourself at home as well. They're actually very easy to make, and I'm actually at my first stage of just getting the flat metal done. So you can see it just mounts onto here, and the metal brake line here, I'll be making all new ones of these that go over to the brake, so I can put them anywhere I want to. I can rotate them, like move them a hole over this way or that way, whatever way that's going to work out the best, but we'll see how that is. But so it's a pretty simple bracket. They don't even make them anymore, so I'm going to make them myself. So here we go. Here's the bracket, and here's my 2 plates that I made. I test fit them already, and what I did is I just took the bracket and I kind of traced this curve right here onto the piece of metal, and then I just kind of made the shape come up, kind of up to where this is. I have it going straight up. So what I did is I marked the holes about the center of these 2, drilled them out with an 1/8-inch starter drill on each of them, and then I used one of these and I made a 5/16 hole. So these are both 5/16 holes. And so what you do is now they take it back over to the truck, and now they line up with the holes in the back. I already test fit them on there, so they fit on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend these over. So if I bend them back, I come back over, I bend them back, I'll have the flat kind of like how that is right there. So that's what I'm going to do next, is bend these. Just come straight across and bend them. Okay, so before I bent them, I mounted them on. Well, I mounted this side on. You kind of see it there. So what I did is I took a marker and I guessed about in the middle of this. I came over and made a mark, middle of the plate. And over here I did the exact same thing. I went in the center and I made a mark. So this is where I'm going to bend it back this way, towards the inside of the truck. So I took and I bent the piece right in that mark that I made, and it was just real simple. Just put it in a vise, put it in there straight, along with this into the vise, and then I just bent it over, and I made it. It's actually a little bit of an angle, so it's actually higher than 90 degrees, maybe like 92 degrees or something like that. So to make this level, so I test fitted again to make sure this was level with the truck, this part. So another thing I did is once I did that, I kind of was like, well, I think it's kind of flimsy just on that 90. So what I did is I took the piece that was sitting out, like the wing that was longer. I took a cutter. I just cut along here, and I cut along here. And then I just bent it down just a little bit, just to bend it down with the pair of pliers. Then I did a little weld here and a little weld on the other side on both of them. So now that piece, it's not moving anywhere now. So it's nice and straight. The 90 degrees is definitely going to hold there. So we got our piece. I'm going to show you on the truck where we're at. Okay, so this is what we got so far. Let me turn the wheel. Hold up. Okay, so this is what we got so far. See, it's bolted in here with these bolts, and I got it bent over with a little. It's just kind of tacked there. So that's plenty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. I guess it's not really. I didn't tighten it down totally, but this here is definitely tight going on here. So the next thing is we got to make this piece. The part here, I'm jombling all over the place. Next thing is we got to make a way for this pipe to be attached to it, which has a 3/8 hole in it, because the brake line's 3/8 inch, the piece that goes through there. So I was taking a washer, actually, what am I doing here? Juggling all around. I was thinking about taking two washers, welding them together, then kind of, hold on, let me see. Okay, so I put it in the vise so it's easier to see and hold. So I was thinking I could double up washers, like do like a couple tack welds to hold them, and then put that right here. And then that would end up being very similar to that. Now it has the double piece on there. I was thinking that, but I thought, oh, why should I do that? That seems like a bit of a pain, especially once I weld that on there, and then it's round and going on there, it's not going to look all that great. So what I do, whenever I cut pieces off, I'll show you over here. I got a bunch of just scrap pieces of metal that whenever I cut off pieces and I fixed as I was fixing the frame, it had little pieces and stuff just sitting around. So I keep all that stuff because you never know when you can use. This is a piece of 14 gauge. Now if I use this and I put it up on here, drill a hole through this, do a nice weld along the bottom and clean it up, kind of do the top, kind of make it round around the corners. You can see I kind of marked on here. So this was actually a triangle before, like this. So these are two pieces that I had. So I just took this piece, laid it on top of this, marked it, and then I laid this on top of this and then marked it. So they should end up being kind of the same piece. So I'm going to go and cut this out and curve it around next. So then both of them will be curved around, and then I can weld both of them, one on each one of the brackets. Okay, so here's the final product. Kind of cleaned up here the sharp edges and made this more round and welded that on. So then there's our bracket for our brakes. for a Series 3, so for the brake line to come up to here. So when the brake lines come in, I'll talk about those when they come. So the brake lines came in. Here's the original one that we're not going to be using. It's got 3/8 on this side and 3/8 on this side, but this one was sealed into the wheel cylinder with a copper washer. This one mounted and the brake line attached to it. So now I ordered, these are 1-ton Series 3. So at this side you have a 3/8 with a metal end on it, and then this one has a 3/8 on the end, so it fits into 2 brackets. So this one I fitted on there and it didn't fit. So in my haste and not thinking about the whole design a little bit better, I ordered another set. These are actually custom ones I got from a place over in Washington State. These are 22-inch overall length brake lines. So they're the exact same fittings on the end, everything, and they make them custom. They're DOT approved and everything. So they'll make any brake lines you need, anything with any type of fitting that they have in stock. Or they can order special ones too, but I just got normal ones, so nothing was really crazy. It was just a longer length of the exact same Series 3. So let me see what the dilemma was, and I'll show you the dilemma I was having and why I ended up ordering these longer one instead of using this one. So we'll see. I came up with some different ideas. We're definitely not using this one, so don't even look at that one. Let's go fit this one on and fit this one on. Okay, so this is the 1-ton brake line right here. So I'm going to fit it on to our bracket we just made. You can see it there, and then put it up here where the original, where the metal brake line comes in. And it seems that it fits in there. It kind of fits, and right now we're sitting with all the weight on the vehicle. So we're sitting at the resting spot right here. So if I start moving it up and down, let's say if we raise it up and down as we're driving along, it just seems like it's going to be a lot of stress on the 1-ton brake line. So it's like right now, if it's bolted in there tight, it's already pushing kind of tight up here. It's kind of pulling, and it's pulling down here, which isn't very safe. So I didn't like that at all. So let's go grab the other brake line. So here we are. Now we got the 22-inch, the longer one. You can see it goes like that. And look at that. We got a lot more flex coming around the line. We have a lot more space. You can see there whenever if it was bolted in there, you'd be pretty good, right? So with this, if we had it sitting like this and then I test fit with the wheel on and I turned it, this is getting real close to where the tire might be. Coming out at that angle, coming around. And we have got plenty of line. There's no flex. It's not being pulled or nothing or twisted. But my concern is like if I go to turn this like this starts sticking out more. It might go towards the tire. So I didn't really like this option either. So another thing, I went back to, and as I was standing here and I'm looking at everything, I was thinking I could go like this and go like this with the brake line. And again, it's sticking out so far. It just seems like it's being forced all in positions every which way you go like that. So I thought, well, what about the 1-ton? Remember, this is the 22-inch one brake line. So we take the 1-ton with this is 16 inches, by the way, the 1-ton brake lines. So we go like this, and also there's a bracket right here. This right here was a bracket that held the metal brake line in place while it connects to the brake line right here. So I thought, well, what about if I do this? And now that gets us a little bit closer, a little bit smaller curve, a little bit closer, and we still got some flex going. But now we're putting a force going down. It's pushing us down and going around and forcing it into down to here. So I didn't like this either. So this is all part of the dilemma I've been going through. So then I thought, what would be the most natural way to put a brake line on? You'd want it to be like this, just in a straight line, right? So then I started looking at Series 3s and the way that they do their brake lines. Again, since we made a Series 3 bracket, why don't we look at Series 3 brakes? So they kind of go in like this, and they actually mount to, there's a check strap here on Series 3s, and it goes in there and it kind of mounts like this. In that position, where it comes here and see it's a nice smooth curve coming up. You got lots of play going around. So I was like, ah, here we go. I think I got an idea. So why don't we use the 1-ton line and come up with something to mount it about here. So this is what I came up with. I took a piece of angle iron, and same thing down here with another bracket. I welded onto it. So then this hole that's up here that had the bracket that held the metal brake line, now I can bolt this onto here, and there's our metal brake line right there, or mount, I mean. So let me just snug this up. So I think this is going to be the solution. It's very easy to make, wasn't very hard. Again, I'll use snug this down and use a lock washers and lock nut and everything on there. So now I take it, put it in our bracket we just made, and now this is our new bracket that we made. Now you can see that is a nice smooth curve going around. Follows right around. I've already test turned the wheel this way, that way, and I jacked the truck up. I lifted it up the whole way, and it barely moved it. Like, it went about that far up and down, which wasn't bad at all. So it actually is, I think this is going to be the best solution to right here. Then I could just make this metal brake line come down like this and come right over to here and come up. And then I'll put a mount here to hold the metal brake line in place. So that's what I'm going to do with the brake lines. So it's complicated, but I think we got it. So now the metal brake lines were good from here, rubber brake lines, with the 1-ton, which is a 16-inch long overall length, from here to here, and then from there up to there, going the brakes, going to go to here. So then now we can go from here over to the brake drum, to where we want it to be. So there we go. There's the answer to a very complicated brake thing, which probably doesn't need to be as complicated as it is, but it seems like this one has the best solution that I found. And since I'm making a Series 3 bracket, I might as well follow the same form and put a mount there, the same as what's on a Series 3. So there's the solution to that brake. I know it's very, very, very complicated and very much a lot of thought, but this is just how things go with this truck. Okay, so I'm going to call this the end of the video, since now we have a solution for the rubber brake line from here to there. So I'm going to paint all this up and clean all this up as well. So I think we're good with this solution. The next thing's going to be putting the drive shafts in and putting in the brakes and getting those all back together. So I'm still waiting for the actual brake fittings, which it's Christmas time. So I think my actual metal brake fittings, I have all these fittings, new ones coming for here so I can make new pieces to go around to everything. It's lost in the Christmas mail, so hopefully that'll be coming in the next, it's already been 3 weeks or so. So alrighty, so thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and share the videos. Thank you for the comments, and have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.